When he was the leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister stated, and I quote his exact words, "I never turn on my staff. When they make mistakes, I always carry the can." So what exactly has changed?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I have fully accepted the responsibility, and I have apologised for the various mistakes that I've made during my time in office. But let me say this very clearly to you, Mr. Speaker. Let me say this to you, Mr. Speaker, and to every single member of this honourable House. Mr. Speaker, it was Morgan McSweeney who assisted me in transforming our entire political party, and he truly helped me to achieve a massive landslide election victory, which ultimately resulted in the smallest Conservative party that this country has seen in more than 100 years of political history. And what on earth is supposed to be her great achievement? That she somehow managed to make it even smaller than it was before, really?
Boo!
The whips have done a great job today. This is like the 37... he said... Oh, yeah, exactly. You've done a truly wonderful job today in getting all of them to cheer so loudly. We are all very well aware of the fact that they have been feeling quite sick for the entirety of this last week, and we must certainly remember, Mr. Speaker, that it was only just this past week, yes, just this very past week, when he stood here and told us that he maintained his absolute and full confidence in his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. But then on Sunday he went ahead and sacked Morgan McSweeney just last week. It is indeed a fact that he has resigned. Hesitation. Only last week, Mr. Speaker. Only last week he was standing right here in this chamber, vigorously defending the Cabinet Secretary. Now he is suddenly in the process of sacking him. What exactly has changed since we last met?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, you'll recall that in January she expressed her full confidence, in fact 100% confidence, she asserted, that there would be no further defections from her political party. However, just 48 hours after that, the Shadow Foreign Minister decided to defect from the ranks. Then only 8 days following that, the former Home Secretary also chose to defect to the other side. The only burning question that everyone is asking right now is who exactly is going to be the next one to go? She really needs to wake up to the harsh reality of the situation. Her entire political party is slowly dying right before her very eyes.
That is right.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is demonstrating stratospheric levels of delusion if he really believes the party is sitting on this side of the House. And he didn't. He didn't even explain why the Cabinet Secretary is being removed. We all know the truth. It is because he is throwing everyone else under a bus without a second thought in a desperate bid to shift the blame and protect himself.
Mr. Speaker, if I have understood the Prime Minister's words correctly just now, it seems he has presented essentially the very same argument regarding Matthew Doyle as he previously did concerning Peter Mandelson, suggesting that they simply weren't sufficiently clear with him. He truly appears to be the most incredibly naive former Director of Public Prosecutions that we have ever seen in the entire history of this country. However, he does face a rather significant problem, Mr.
Speaker, because some of us here do actually read the newspapers. And towards the very end of last year, specifically on the 30th day of December, after I had formally written to the House of Lords appointments.
Regarding the Commission, I have now received a formal response from the Chair, who clearly informed me that as an essential part of their vetting process, they consistently provide confidential guidance to the Prime Minister regarding the overall propriety of any prospective nominee.
Will he disclose that piece of advice?
Here. Mr. Speaker, I have made my position quite clear. He knows how the system works. But, Mr. Speaker, he states that he reads the newspapers. He will have read that in just 9 days' time, their former party chief executive is going on trial for embezzling money. And if he'll have read that the Queen Elizabeth Hospital represents one of the most significant failures in Scottish public life. Vulnerable children and adults were needlessly put at grave risk, with clear evidence of serious warnings to the SNP government being completely ignored. He should have been actively looking at those critical issues, not simply looking at the newspapers. The First Minister absolutely should act because these families truly deserve full accountability.
Can I just remind the Honourable House that we don't discuss live cases?
Mr. Speaker, making a single appointment of someone who supports a paedophile cannot be dismissed as mere mischance. But the decision to appoint 2 such people reveals an appalling and catastrophic failure of judgment and responsibility. The Right Honourable Gentleman once stated to this very House that when a Prime Minister declines to accept accountability, and I quote directly, it only serves to persuade individuals that circumstances cannot improve, that administrations are unable to enhance the lives of their citizens, and that advancement is unattainable because the political system is ineffective.
Does he still agree with himself?
And does he also share my growing fear that this is exactly what is happening right now?
Listen to me. The people in this country, millions and millions of people, have been let down for many years and years and years. And one of the primary reasons for this was austerity, which is party-supported and championed. He should take full accountability and take responsibility for everything he has inflicted on this country.
David, go out there and absolutely shred.
Mr. Speaker, I really do think I touched a raw nerve.
However, I believe the entire House will concur that the recent Manson scandal has once more clearly demonstrated the absolute and undeniable necessity for a strict duty of candour to be upheld by all individuals who hold public office.
And, Mr. Speaker, I must emphasise that the Mandelson episode was by no means an isolated incident in this government. Just a few short weeks ago, he saw fit to announce a life peerage for a man named Matthew Doyle, who previously served as his very own Director of Communications. Immediately following that decision, the Sunday Times published a report on their front page revealing that Mr. Doyle had actively campaigned for a man who was facing charges for serious child sex offences.
Even though the Prime Minister knew all of this, he nevertheless gave Doyle a job for life in the House of Lords, appointing him to a permanent peerage with full rank and the privileges. Why would he do that?
Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, it has become abundantly clear that Matthew Doyle did not provide a full and honest account of his actions. And on Monday, I stood before my party, and indeed our entire country, and I made a solemn promise that there would be significant change. And therefore, yesterday, I took the necessary step to remove the whip from Matthew Doyle. I'll tell you what other action we've taken, Mr. Speaker. Along with the Safeguarding Minister, I and this government have introduced the most far-reaching violence against women and girls strategy. And I'll tell you what else we've done. This government has successfully introduced a significant pay rise for millions of working-class women across our nation. Yeah, and what exactly did the Leader of the Opposition choose to do in response? She simply opposed it. This government is now actively introducing much greater protection for women in their workplaces. So what exactly did the Leader of the Opposition choose to do then? She simply opposed it. And I'll tell you what other thing she is strongly opposing is this government's decision to remove the truly disgusting rape clause that they themselves had originally put in place.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is pretending that he doesn't know anything about Matthew Doyle. The story was featured right there on the very front page of the Sunday Times. He is completely unable to explain why he decided to give this man a peerage. And I honestly think that they should be wondering why they are still cheering for him after all of that.
You bet.
And the Prime Minister, he often tries to claim, as he just did moments ago, that he genuinely cares about the serious issue of violence against women. The truth is, he only ever seems to care about the victims when he's desperately trying to save his own political skin. They can shake their heads all they want. We clearly saw it with the grooming gang scandal. We saw it again with Mandelson. And now, once more, we are seeing it play out with Doyle.
Wouldn't that be precisely what a former prosecutor would describe as an established pattern of behaviour?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I want to make it abundantly clear right now, I am not going to be taking any lectures from the Conservative Party on the subject of standards in public life. Just to tell you that I'm afraid she staunchly defended Partygate for what seemed like months and months and months. And even now, she still insists that the entire situation was completely overblown. The shadow Foreign Secretary, without a doubt, broke the ministerial code by engaging in bullying behaviour. Yeah, Boris Johnson actually kept her in his government. Then the Leader of the Opposition went and promoted her. She now holds a key position on their front bench. Her former Shadow Justice Secretary made a public complaint, expressing his concern about the insufficient number of white faces he perceived in Birmingham, and she was then considered 2 weeks to take decisive action and dismiss him for what was clearly an act of racism.
Nobody is buying this, Mr. Speaker, not for a single moment. Not even the Labour women themselves are convinced, because they know perfectly well he always puts his own Downing Street Boys Club first. And how dare he even stand there and criticise us? We were certainly not the ones stuffing this government full of hypocrites and paedophile apologists. He simply cannot build a cohesive team, Mr. Speaker.
He has no real plan at all. He cannot even manage his own office, let alone lead the entire country. The Prime Minister is currently embroiled in a fresh scandal, facing intense scrutiny for his decision to appoint an individual who actively campaigned in support of a man previously convicted of possessing deeply disturbing and indecent images of young girls, some as young as 10 years old. Isn't the Prime Minister profoundly ashamed that this deeply troubling situation will ultimately define his legacy? Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my true legacy involves fundamentally changing my party and ultimately winning a crucial general election. And let me state this unequivocally. I successfully expelled my former leader from the ranks of my own party. Her previous leader, Liz Truss, not only shattered our national economy, but has also now fully embraced utterly outlandish and baseless conspiracy theories. I was instrumental in her expulsion from the halls of Parliament, yet she remains far too weak and utterly incapable of expelling her from the very party they both belong to.
Mr. Speaker, he has not yet offered an apology for his decision to appoint Matthew Doyle, because he consistently refuses to accept any personal responsibility. He never does, and they are all fully aware of this.
The Prime Minister is currently going around telling everyone that he has never lost a single fight. That is only because he is far too afraid to actually step inside the boxing ring. He says he's never lost a fight, but he has completely walked away from the challenge of welfare reform. He refuses to stand up to the unions, he refuses to stand up to China, and he cannot even find the courage to stand up to Mauritius.
Yeah.
He's already gone through, Mr. Speaker. He has cycled through 3 entirely different cabinet secretaries, 4 separate chiefs of staff, and 5 different directors of communications in a mere 18 months. And now he finds himself deeply mired in yet another massive and damaging political scandal. Does he ever truly look into the mirror and deeply question himself if the actual problem is staring directly back at him?
Yes, indeed. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to say I delivered a massive and decisive landslide victory for our entire government.
There have only been 4 individuals who have successfully led the Labour Party to a general election victory, and I am proud to say that I am indeed one of those individuals. Yet despite this, she continues to talk about numbers and statistics. Let us take a moment to remember, Mr. Speaker, we've seen 5 different prime ministers, 7 different chancellors of the Exchequer, 8 home secretaries, 8 foreign secretaries, and a staggering 16 housing secretaries, all of whom have proven themselves to be completely and utterly useless.
Everyone failed Britain, and this Prime Minister is now trying to clear up all their mess. She comes here every single week, desperately struggling to save her failing, dying party. But I am fighting for something much bigger, to truly change our country.
Yeah, interest rates are finally starting to come down. Inflation is dropping significantly. Hospital waiting lists are also going down. Child poverty is falling as well. And I will tell you one more thing that is definitely going down. The total number of Tory members of Parliament in the House of Commons.